everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Zodwa Gwaga, and if you are here for the very first time, hello, everybody. And if you are returning a subscriber, thank you for making your way back home. Appreciate you so much. Now, I know some of you are disappointed because my husband is not here. He's not coming on every week, but I do want to say a huge thank you to everyone that showed us so much love from last week's video. So I've been begging my husband to do videos with me, and he's been denying my request. But after the response that everyone gave him in the last video, he's like, okay, fine, I'll come once a month. So thank you so much for helping me win that battle. But we are stuck. We don't know what we will be talking about in the videos that he'll be joining me on, because I suggested to him, I said, look, let's talk about marriage. And he's like, is it a marriage channel now? I was like, no. So we don't know what to talk about. Please give us ideas and topic suggestions in the comment section below. He will be coming to shoot a video with me in October, but as it stands, we don't know what that topic will be about. So please do leave a comment, suggest a topic so that we will know what we will be talking about when he comes and visits sometime in October. So let's get into today's video. Today's video is about how to position yourself as a public speaker that gets paid. Now, I must say this is for beginners. It's for the person or the people that are saying, look, I've got a desire to go into the public speaking space. I know that I've got a message. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. This video is for you. I will ask that you share it with as many people as possible that you think would get a value from it. Let's start with how I started out. It didn't start off with speaking. It started off with writing. I'm a natural born writer. And when I was young, I used to write a lot of poetry. And the natural progression of that would be reciting the poems. So I wrote quite a lot in high school as well, to the point where I went to an all-girls school, and a girl came up to me and she said, Zodwa, I'll pay you 5 rand. Please write me a poem. I don't know if she wanted to impress a boyfriend. I don't know what was happening, but I got paid for my poem. Like, I've been monetizing, guys. I've been monetizing talent. So that was a fun fact about my writing. And in school, I had this big black bag, and I wrote in a very, very poetic, I wrote with Tipex on my bag, boys lie, girls cry. I was very shy and scared of boys. I stayed away from boys in high school. So I wrote boys lie, girls cry. I just found it very poetic and true, but nonetheless. So I was just always a very poet. I remember the first poem I recited was unfortunately at my 7-month-old niece's funeral. I recited that poem, and then I've been reciting poems since. I was fortunate to have a platform at church where I would just do poems. If it was Mother's Day, I was doing a poem. If it was Father's Day, I was doing a poem. If it was a conference, I was doing a poem. I would just always put my hand up to recite a poem. And all of that activity familiarized me with stage. It familiarized me with an audience. So I'm really grateful that I had that opportunity. And it escalated from poetry to emceeing. I have put in some hours through emceeing at church. And again, I'm super grateful. Have you noticed how most great stories start at church? Have you noticed? Like, where did you start? How old were you started? What were you doing? I was at church. I was in the church choir. Same here. Same story. I was at church. Started emceeing at church. And it just, again, natural progression. And then after that, I was asked at church to speak. Would you speak at this event? Would you do this? Would you do that? And then it evolved from there to even outside of church, where people who came to visit, or I post a lot on Facebook, and people who saw on Facebook, and people who hear my thoughts that I put on Facebook, were like, you like what you put out on social media, can you come and speak it at our events? And I was like, sure. So I was saying yes to everything. If somebody wanted me to come and speak at a party, yes. If somebody wanted me to come and speak at whatever, I was just availing myself. So I spoke at as many places as possible. Fast forward, I got into this phase in my life where I was deep into personal development. And part of that process, I launched an annual event called Connecting the Dots. That was scary. That was really scary. But by the grace of God, both events that I've hosted at Connecting the Dots were sold out, completely sold out. And I had to charge and say, come and listen to me. I have something worth hearing. The ticket is $350. That was scary, but thank God they were all sold out. And it's just been growing from there. So now I want to give you some tips and some tricks of what you can do to establish yourself as a paid public speaker. Let's get into it. Number one, do not think the fear of public speaking means you can't. I've come across so many people that have written themselves off as public speakers because of how nervous they get, because of how intimidating the idea of even speaking in front of more than 5 people is. And they completely disregard any possibility of them ever speaking to an audience. Just because you are scared does not mean you are unable to do it. It is actually a very normal reaction to be scared before you speak to an audience. I used to get so scared. I used to tremble. Guys, I would pace up and down. If you're asking me something, I would just space out. And this is literally moments before I go on stage. And the only thing that calmed me down was holding that mic and just getting it done. And once I was getting it done, you couldn't get me off stage. I just loved everything that was happening. But moments before, I would be so scared. I'm glad to say that I'm not as scared as I used to be before walking out on stage. Those nerves are still there, but they're not as bad as what they used to be. I want to read you something out of T.D. Jakes' book, Don't Drop the Mic. It's on page 58. If you're aspiring to be a speaker, I highly suggest that you get this book. It's brilliant. So this is what he says about the fear that comes over us before we go on stage and speak. He speaks about 4 fears and how to handle them. He says, you may always feel a little nervous or excited prior to speaking in front of a group, but you don't have to be held hostage by the fear. And then he goes into the 4 reactions. The first is simply the physical and psychological response your body produces under duress. When faced with a threatening situation, your autonomic nervous system cannot discern the difference between a prowler, a python, and a podium. Touche, Mr. Jakes, touche. You get so scared that it feels the mic, the podium, the audience are pythons ready to kill you. Guys, it's nerve-wracking. But imagine if T.D. Jakes had said, I'm too scared to do it. I'm too shy to do it. I get too nervous. We would have been robbed of one of the best orators of the time that we are living in. And I'm positive that you keeping quiet because of nerves, you are robbing your audience of one of the best gifts this world has ever seen. That does sound pre-rehearsed. It just came out. It wasn't pre-rehearsed, but don't rob your audience of the message that only you carry. I'm fully aware of the fact that there are people that I have been sent to. There are things that I have been given. There's a message that I have been given. And I think that conviction has made me a lot more confident in speaking and understanding that I cannot allow nerves, I cannot allow intimidation of audience to stop me from delivering the message that only I can deliver, all right? So number 2, speak for free at as many gigs as possible. Like I did, it gives you experience, it gives you hours. So say yes to as many gigs as possible. If they want you to MC at a friend's get together, say yes. If they want you to MC at church, say yes. If they want you to speak here, if they want you to say yes. Like I'm saying, you might not be getting monetary payment, you're definitely getting experience. And at the beginning, that counts so much more than what any amount of money you could be given. So speak, speak, speak. Exercise that muscle of speaking. Familiarize yourself with the fear. Familiarize yourself with that feeling that comes over you. Because the more you familiarize yourself with the fear, the less daunting it becomes, the less intimidating it becomes. Number 3, show up on time, show up prepared, and show up looking good. At any event that I've ever been invited to speak at, I was either the first or one of the first people to arrive. Let me tell you, there was an invitation that I had received recently, and my host had said, even if you arrive an hour after the start time, it's fine, because you know people will be late. In my mind, I'm thinking, hell no, I am going to arrive at the time that is on the poster, because imagine me walking in an hour later, everyone is seated. In their minds, they're thinking, oh, you're the one that held us up. Or, no, we're not having any of that. I will be on time. I've been at events where I was early or on time and I waited 2 hours as an invited speaker or as an invited MC. I had to sit there and wait 2 hours for everybody else to arrive for the program to start. But I refuse to be the one that arrives on the second hour. I don't mind the waiting, but I don't want my audience to ever feel disrespected by my inability to stick to time. Show up prepared. Already know what you're going to be talking about. Don't be scrambling pieces of paper and trying to put things together when you're already at the event. Try to show up prepared mentally. Try to show up prepared even with what you're going to be saying. Even emotionally, be in a state of mind that is prepared to offer value, to deliver value. So show up as prepared as you need to be. If you know you're going to be reading notes from your phone, make sure that your phone is fully charged. Bring a power bank where you know you can charge your phone so that it doesn't die. So show up prepared so that you become more confident, so that you can offer more value. And show up looking good. Show up looking good. Again, confidence. When you look good, it gives you that extra confidence boost. Number 4, this is very important. Have a story. I don't know how to articulate this in a way that you will get it, but this is so important. If you want to grow in the public speaking space, find out what your story is. People have so many different stories. People have stories of loss. People have stories of life after divorce. People have stories of being a widow. People have stories of personal development. People have stories of so many different things. Look at your life. If you want to be serious about positioning yourself as a speaker, look at your life. What is the one thing that has taught you the most lessons in life that you know that could be valuable to the next person? Position yourself in that manner, because no matter what invitation you get, you would be able to use your story as the foundation that is going to offer value to whatever you are saying. There's a page where he talks about how he received an invitation from a motor industry, and he's like, but I know nothing about cars. They asked him to come and give a keynote address, and he says, I knew nothing about cars. And then they further said they want him to talk about how he has been able to deliver so much impact to a multi-ethnic audience. And that's what his story was, how he was able to reach the Hispanics, how he was able to reach the white Americans, the black Americans, Africans, Asians, everyone. So know your story, because once you have a story, even if it's people who have not gone through the similar situation, but they could be in situations where they can draw value and lessons from your own story. So please know what your story is and find a way of communicating your story in a relevant manner in any invitation that you get. It is super important and it is super powerful. Have a story. Number 5, have stage presence. Please have stage presence. Information and content is only a small contribution to the impact that you leave when you are addressing an audience. You need to have charisma, you need to have humor, you need to be relatable to the people. It is great and well to be well informed about whatever you'll be delivering, but it is not enough if you don't have stage presence. People aren't only captured by information, they are captured by your story, they're captured by your heart. And you need to express your heart in the most sincere and in the most professional manner possible. Don't just leave it at information. Bring stage presence. Number 6, Know when to position yourself as an authority and know when to position yourself as a growing equal. Because if you get those two mixed matched, you can speak right over the heads of your audience. Do research on who you are going to be speaking to, because if you should be speaking to them as an equal, a growing equal, and you come at them as an authority, you are going to speak right over their heads because you are not in that space that you're placing yourself to be. And there are times where you should be placing yourself and presenting yourself as an authority, as an expert to people that still need to view you in that way in order for them to gain what they need to gain, the value that you are bringing. But if you mix match those two, it could mean missing the audience all together. So know when to position yourself as a growing equal and know when to position yourself as an expert. Number 7, upskill, upskill, upskill. I cannot emphasize how important this is. Upskill yourself with education. Upskill yourself with information of how to become a better speaker. Read books, watch videos. There's this gentleman, I've learned so much from him of how to become an amazing speaker, an impactful speaker, a memorable speaker. And please do get the book by T.D. Jakes on Don't Drop the Mic. It's got tricks of the trade that you could definitely get value from if you are positioning yourself as a speaker. So be continuously upgrading your knowledge on how to speak. Watch other speakers, watch people who have been doing it for a very long time and take tips and tricks from them too. And the final one. So how do you charge speaking? I struggled with this for a very long time. Actually, I think everybody that goes into the speaking industry struggles with pricing, because how do you know what value to place upon your content? It takes time, it takes growth. For me, what I've learned along my journey of being a paid public speaker was that there are certain factors that I need to put into consideration before I place the actual value of my delivery. Number one, my face. I need to get my makeup done. So that comes at a cost. Number two, my nails. And if they're not done, I need to get my nails done. That comes at a cost. Do I have to travel there? How far do I have to travel? Because that speaks to petrol. Will I need a new outfit? Because remember, we're living in an age where we don't want to repeat too many outfits on social media. Yes, don't deny it. Don't deny it. So do I have to buy a new outfit for your event? If yes, I'm going to factor that amount into the overall price that I'm going to charge you. Now, remember, this is just the cost that I've noted down. I haven't actually put the value of my delivery. Now, the hardest thing is saying, what are you worth? What is your value? What helped me with this, besides my husband, of course, but what helped me with this was realizing that I have come up with an event where I speak, and the ticket for that event has been $350. And at both events, it was sold out. The most recent one, I had 100 people in attendance and more wanted to come, but they couldn't because COVID regulations. At that time, we could only have a max of 100 people inside a room. And that made me 35,000 Rand. And obviously there were expenses that had to be paid and whatnot. But the base was 35,000 Rand. And I said, well, if somebody else is going to invite me to their event, why must I charge less than the value that I've already placed on me? So if you want to invite me to, I'm not saying I charge 35,000 Rand. Obviously, there are other factors that are considered into each invitation. But if it's a considerable size amount of people in attendance, my fee for my own event is 350. So therefore, I cannot go below that. It is either I go below if you've got more than a certain amount of people, or I go higher if you've got less amount of people. But that is my mentality around how I have gotten to where I am with my pricing. I'm not saying I charge 35,000 Rand, guys. I'm not, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that is the one tool that has helped me come to a place of having confidence in how I charge. So know what your value is and really evaluate the kind of impact that you leave on people's lives. Do not undercharge yourself. I hope you enjoyed this video and got value from it. I hope that it helps you in your journey journey of positioning yourself as a paid public speaker. Now, this is a video that is short. I'm sure it's like under 20 minutes or just over 20 minutes. I'm not sure. But obviously, I would not be able to put all the content and every lesson I've learned in this video. So if you do have questions, please do leave them in the comment section below, because there is quite a lot of content because of time that I'm not able to cover. Thank you for watching. Bye.